Hey, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to do a Twitter review for the Dead Linger on their main site, following the tweets. They've posted some really good stuff this week, just in case you don't follow. If you've been following, then this is nothing new. Um, but it's amazing. They've been showing a lot of screenshots for the Dead Linger, the new build 14, and I have to say, I knew they would. Not doing it, I told you so, but it was kind of like I just knew they would. Like they're gonna really, really be pushing how great Build 14 looks, and we've been lucky to see a lot of screenshots. So let's get right into the tweets. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the 12th, which is Saturday, April 12, 2014. So they wrapped up PAX East on that weekend. So Saturday, Jenny was there at PAX East handing out pins, and she posted that here. So another day at PAX East is underway. Time to linger. Hashtag. The only thing that kind of disappointed me about the PAX that they did was I didn't see it. So if somebody knows where it's at, please let me know. I would really want to go and look at it, but I didn't see a whole lot of stuff coming from them, specifically from PAX. It was more of a, hey, I'm going to be located here. Come see me. Sure, I'm sure she was busy. No, she wasn't there as a correspondent. She was there, handing out pins and talking about the game. It just would have been nice to have seen some more of her perspective there at PAX East as a participant. That would have been kind of cool. That's not a knock on the company, but I only say it because since she was there representing the company, it would have been nice to have seen what she was doing there to kind of help promote. I know she was just handing out pins, but it would have been kind of cool to see some pictures of her handing the pins out or something. Mostly just to kind of see that perspective of the dead linger at PAX. You know, I'm not mad. Jealous would be a better word for it. I mean, I could go to a lots of sites and see pictures of PAX, but just to see the dead linger perspective would have been very, very cool. All right, so then we go on. Time for a screenshot Saturday. Now, I don't know if that's new. I don't remember there being much of a screenshot Saturday in the past, but they did put this up. This was so cool. I showed my son, and he was like, oh, he thought it was really neat. I don't think I can make this much bigger, but it shows standing from a fairly static perspective point somewhere in the world, the clouds that go by. Currently, the sky is pretty blank. If you look in the sky as it stands, you're going to see some very faint and far away, very, very, very far away clouds that are kind of built into their sky. And it looks kind of neat. But what we're seeing here are these I can never say it, wispy, that's what it is, not wispy, wispy clouds. And they look great, and it looks like they're going to be floating across the sky. It looks fantastic. I don't know if they change shape even, or if it's just one cloud shape and it just passes by. I don't know if we're going to see repeats of the same cloud textures at some point. Not that I spend a whole lot of time looking up at the sky, but you know what? Actually, I kind of do, because my character looks at a horizon point when running a lot of times, and so by default, you kind of see the sky often. And what would be cool is when those clouds move across the sky, if it blocks out the sun and creates, moving shadows, it gets temporarily dark and then bright. I mean, weather effects. So it'll be very, very cool to see how that affects the game. I'm excited to see the clouds. And so they did put the pictures out, and that was really cool. And what's so cool is when you go to the tweets, you can expand it out and see comments and things like that. And sometimes they add some more commentary down below about a particular picture. So, come check it out for yourself so you can see all the behind the scenes action. Okay, so we go up a little bit. That was Saturday. And then also on the 12th, he put here's a higher res picture. I'm not quite sure how much high res or if it's bigger, but that didn't help. There we go. Now if you blow it up, just bigger. But you can see it is pretty much taken from the same perspective. You can see the cloud coming across. But like I said, I can't tell if it's actually blocking the sun and creating shadows. Probably how it's set right now. Well, you can kind of see it's changing the color of the sky. Like here's some blue, and then the clouds themselves, you get different colors. But I don't know if that actually darkens the world accordingly. But that's, we'll find out. More to come. Then let's see, on the 12th, put cloudy with a chance of zombies. So again, just people making comments about the clouds, and that's a cute one. Then we had on the 12th, it's all also working on clouds and updating sky. And this might be the same picture. Oh, no, no, no. This was a different picture. Can I blow this up? That looks nice. That's from in the game. And that is beautiful nighttime look. Huh. Perfect. You can even blow it up. Can I scroll down a little bit? Yeah, that's the whole picture. That looks amazing. I'll tell you. I think that looks amazing. So it'll be nice to see that in the game as your sun ups and sun setting and sun rising. Let's see. Then on the 12th, Richard put, got template file driven content layout working. Now improving town layout to not be so gritty. I'm not sure if it's in this week or he posted it elsewhere, but also improved that when buildings are generated, it puts it on flat land. So you might see odd looking terrain around a house. I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know if what it will do is basically if you had a hill and then the house is going to be like cookie cutter cut into the hill, so you'll see that the hill is unnaturally formed around a house. But the only reason I bring that up is because if he changes the way that the towns lay out, it's just really hard to say how that will affect overall. And now the towns, if they're not going to be so much of a grid per se, then if they're, here and kind of in my mind, I can visualize how it's going to look, but I don't know how it's going to actually lay the houses out into the world and how that might put them into areas that are generated around a hill. Because we've actually seen some communities that get generated kind of in a, not quite a, I'm not going to call it like a valley, but, kind of like a cul-de-sac of mountains. And we've seen some houses that were generated way up high on top of a hill where part of the house was like in the hill. You could climb up the hill and get to it, and then the house had 10 feet of house that stuck out away from the hill with no natural means of support. So it's just hard to say with the new layout how that will place houses within that community. Will it stick them in more odd locations? And then with the coding that's going to put them on flat land, is that just going to generate even more goofy looking stuff? At least it's on flat land, but more interesting layouts in the world. That was just a thought I had. I'm always the pessimist, That's great you fixed this, but it's going to make this look goofy in return. So we'll see. But the gritty part, I didn't have a problem with the gritty part, actually. I used to live in Salt Lake. Well, I didn't live in Salt Lake. I lived in Lehigh, which is south of Salt Lake. It's not part of Salt Lake City at all. That just kind of slipped out. But when I lived in Utah, that's kind of how a lot of places in Utah felt, was a grid. Just squares. So I'm used to it. All right, so then we go the 13th. This is Sunday. So now with PAX East over, we're shifting our focus to the upcoming Salt Lake City Comic Con, which is this weekend, which probably starts sometime today. And then there's a link to it. When I lived there, I don't remember ever going to any kind of con. But if you go to saltlakecomiccon.com, quick little plug for those maybe in Utah or who can go. It looks huge and a lot of people there. I couldn't force this to go forward. I had to just let the picture change on its own. But anyway, you can come and see quite a bit about the Salt Lake Comic Con. Then you can go and look for guests and different things. Oh my goodness. Third best seats, general seating. Wow. So you got to pay for the con and then go for the... Yeah. Anyway. Alright, so then Salt Lake Comic Con. We have Triplets. So this is some pictures of them testing their layouts and setup for how they want to have their booth set up for the Dead Linger. So that was what the Triplets were. They're 3 running PCs with the game on it. Let's see what else we got. Floor machines. There it is. This, I would say, is probably one of the first pictures of the Build 14 in progress, with some of the new textured ground and the trees and the pretty sky. And then, these were on the 15th. 15th. Yeah, because it was sad to go like an entire day of no tweets. And then the next day there's like 3 or 4, and it's like, yay, keep it up. Here's a booth setup day 1. Oh, here we go. Build 14 running on some floor machines. I think we just looked at that. I think, oh, well, let me blow that picture up. I think we've seen that picture before. But just showing some of the graphic improvements. And the 16th. Oh, here's the booth setup day 1. Here we go. So this is him. I think that's Jeff Keen's car, but pulling in. There's the booth. And then right here, new far distance. Okay, so what they were saying here's the better picture. All right, I can't make that any bigger, but this was. I mean, I think that's an amazing screenshot. That's one particularly really tall tree there. What I liked about this was because the world is procedurally generated, you can pretty much go anywhere you want. I mean, it just shows you the expanse of the game. It's huge. The worlds are really huge. I know a lot of people have said, well, how big are the worlds? Are they small? Will they make it bigger? It's huge already. Amazingly huge. And right now, pretty much if you can see it, you get to it. Some of the mountains are too steep to climb, but in theory, if you can see it, you can at least get to the base of that mountain and look up. So it's huge. And it kind of reminds me, there's some screenshots for the H1Z1 from Sony that show a guy standing on top of a mountain, and he looks out and it's this huge, expansive world. And this screenshot reminded me of that a lot. What the Dead Linger's doing with Unity, other people have done it before too, but just saying, what they're doing with Unity as a small indie company is looking to be on par as a huge AAA company doing their game. So huge world. It's impressive, actually. It'll be nice to get in there and try it out. Okay, so let's see here. All right, let's head back. Okay, then on the 16th, it says more terrain, trees, grass, whatever, prepping for the Salt Lake Comic Con. Didn't have a picture of that. Then it said on the 17th, was up all night polishing a preview build of 14. And then Jeff, well, actually, then within the last 23 hours, says, okay, so the sleep never happened, but we have a pretty stable build 14 work in progress for Comic Con. And then Hacker Girl, Jenny, she says the banners are up. So there's a couple pictures here of them with the banners and putting things up. So I believe that's Jeff and Richard. That's a guess. I can't tell it from the back. That person seems to have more hair than Jeff, but I could be wrong. Anyhow, I think that's Richard there on the front. But again, I don't know them personally, and I'm kind of going off the little tiny pictures that they put with their Twitter tweets. So I could be wrong. But anyway, I did like the banners. I love this one up front here with the zombies and the burning background and their big old biohazard symbol. Like, what's the key? Like, I still think that's a thing to know. What's the key in their Dead Linger biohazard picture? And then there's the 3 machines that got set up. Now when you come back, I think they had another picture of them setting it up phase 2. Yeah. I thought they had a picture. Oh, I think we already showed it, of the game running on one of the machines. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's talk about the game running on the machines and their build 14 work in progress. And they got to keep telling folks it's work in progress because the build 14 is not done. But I still maintain why that's awesome for us, the gamer, is because it will mean that it's not far behind for us. My thought is, if this is what you're showing folks and this is how awesome it looks, I mean, let's come back here. This might be a good picture. Let's go with this. Yeah, let's blow it up a little bit. If this is what you're showing folks, and then those people come home and they go to Steam and they fork out $20, that's what they want to see. You know, they're going to see the fancy sky and all these different effects going on. And, you know, even though you might tell these folks, look, this is build 14, work in progress, this isn't how the game looks currently, you're going to tell people that, and you're going to try and set that expectation. But I work with people every single day, and I'm telling you, that's not what they're going to hear. They're going to sit down, they're going to play the game, they're going to think, wow, this is awesome. They're going to get home, pay $20, and then they're going to see the game as it currently stands, and they're going to be like, oh, this doesn't look very good at all, and be disappointed. And then boom, you know, that particular person's going to get on and start their Twitter rants and blog hate and stuff like that. And they're justified, because even though they were told, hey, this is build 14, work in progress, we currently have build 13 that you're going to purchase, they're going to have to push some of these elements sooner rather than later. This is pretty much your advertisement for the game. And, you know, lots of companies do that. Lots of companies put a game out and say, hey, here's what we have coming, and then the final release, whatever, doesn't quite look the same. But that's the expectation you're setting. And if that expectation doesn't match what they see, regardless of what you tell them, they're going to be disappointed. So this is only a good thing for us. I knew that these cons would drive them to start working faster. Now, the drawback to that is you're going to say, well, shoot, now if they're working faster to push content, then that means the content will be rushed, it has issues and bugs. Well, welcome to programming in the world of gaming development. You know, it's almost a given that things that come out are going to have bugs and have issues. Not saying that that's a good thing, but they do a pretty good job of turnaround time on hot fixes and bugs and stuff like that. So I have a feeling that when this Salt Lake City Comic Con is over, and I hope we get to see more tweets from it of fans playing the game and booth shots and things throughout, because they actually have a booth. I mean, with PAX, I might have been disappointed we didn't see more pictures from PAX, but they didn't have a booth presence. You know, but they actually have a booth now, and just as part of their photo album and that, you know, stamp in history, you know, I hope to see more pictures of people excited and sitting down and playing the game and enjoying it. And then when they come back from the con, I can see maybe 1 or 2 days of silence, because they have to tear down from the con, move back and get comfortable, rest, sleep, because I'm sure they're not getting much sleep right now. But probably, you know, Wednesday, I would not be surprised if we see some more updates coming back Wednesday stating, hey, here's what we're getting ready to push out to you guys because of our experiences that we learned from the con, kind of a deal. And we start to see build 14 come a little bit sooner. I don't think it's going to be a 2-month wait. I think it's going to be pretty quick when it gets here. Not saying next week we'll have build 14, but I would not be surprised if we start seeing, you know, hey, we're pushing 13B. I can see a 13B coming pretty soon that might have a couple of, you know, possible texture options or something like that. They're going to have to start slowly pushing things out. And I think build 14 within the month, I think probably before April is out, they're going to start talking about build 14 coming out. I think so. Simply because they're going to have to start matching what they showed at the con. That's a guess. Now, they'll probably just to spite me. They probably don't watch this, but they probably, if one of them watches this, they're going to be like, you know what, just to spite him, we're going to delay this another full month, you know. Who knows? But that's kind of my guess. I'm thinking probably we'll put another Man on the Moon by the end of April, and we'll see build 14 coming out. That's my guess. That's a guess. I'll be so happy if I'm right. Or maybe I should be safer and say maybe a 13B by the end of April, a full build 14 in the early part of May, a build 13B before the end of the month. That might be a more realistic goal. Well, anyway, that's a look at some of the pictures, some of my thoughts and comments. If you have thoughts and comments about build 14 and what you expect us to be seeing, go ahead and share. And then next week we'll kind of read the tweets and see how close we were. That's the fun part about speculating. If you're right, you get to say, hey, see, I called it. And if you're wrong, you get to say, well, oops. All right, anyway, have a good day, everybody. We'll talk to you next week.